Hi students, in this part we will see about polity news. Here one important news is there, it is about All India services. In Indian Express it was explained in the context of deputation. So here we see what is the news, and this news we are taking it as an opportunity to look into All India services in detail. Here the center has proposed to amend the rules for central deputation of IAS officers. This is the news. The DOPT, Department of Personal Training, said that it is taking this decision in the wake of a shortage of All India services officers in union ministries. Due to shortage at union level, the rules are being changed for central deputation. Now we see what is All India services and what are the safeguards for All India services and tenure and other aspects about All India services. Through the amendments, the union government plans to acquire power to depute IAS, IPS and IFOS. These are the three All India services in India: Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service and Indian Forest Service. These three services are called All India services. Indian Constitution has created an Indian state which is having both federal features as well as unitary features. That is why Indian political system is also sometimes termed as quasi-federal in nature. That means federalism, complete federalism means there will be full autonomy to states and central subjects and state subjects are almost separate. Whereas in case of quasi-federalism or in our Indian style of federalism, union government has control over state governments also, and also state government territories or political boundaries of state can be changed by the acts of parliament. That is why center has more control over state political boundaries and in some cases of state subjects. That is why IAS, IPS and IFOS are three important All India services which are very crucial in maintaining this quasi-federal structure, because they are recruited by central agency but they work in different states. When center wants these people, it deputes and it gets the people work under central government. Here, through the amendments, union government plans to acquire powers to depute these officers to the central government and ministries without necessary permission from the state government. So here you have to see state governments have certain powers in controlling these officers, and union government wants to amend some of the rules so that central government need not to take the permission of state governments whenever requirement of these All India service officers are there at the union level. Now what is central deputation reserve? Here the state government has to prescribe a number of officers available for deputation as prescribed under central deputation reserve. State government should give the list to union government. Every state cadre of the service provides for a central deputation quota, which in turn requires additional requirement to be made to the service to provide for trained and experienced members to serve on posts in the central government. So it is about, say, state government should give information about the deputation list. Now we see what are the All India services. Here we should go back to the times of India's independence. In 1947, India gained independence from British imperialism. After gaining independence, there were two different points of view whether to continue the Indian civil service and Indian police system, because these two organs of the state were created by the British. If you remember from the times of Lord Cornwallis, who was considered as father of Indian civil service. Since the times of Lord Cornwallis, the system of bureaucracy streamlined by the British imperialism. But these two organs, Indian civil service and Indian police system, was used for exploitation of India's resources. That is why, after gaining independence in 1947, there are two streams of thoughts. One stream of thought is to discontinue this legacy of British and start a fresh one which is Indian in nature. Whereas certain leaders, particularly Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, he supported the Indian civil service system, the bureaucracy, and he strongly supported, and because of his efforts, the Indian civil service continued with a different name. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was the chief protagonist of All India services in the Constituent Assembly. Hence, he came to be regarded as father of All India services after independence. Presently, only IAS, IPS, and IFOS have been constituted as All India services. The All India services, here different services are under different ministries. Indian Administrative Service is under one ministry, that is Ministry of Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions. Whereas Indian Police Service, it comes under administrative organ of Ministry of Home Affairs. So Ministry of Home Affairs take care of Indian Police Service. Ministry of Personal and Public Grievance and Pensions take care of Indian Administrative Service. Whereas Indian Forest Service comes under Environment, Forest and Climate Change Ministry. So here you have to see different All India services and which ministry is looking after different services. All India service is a federal feature of Indian Constitution, as they are recruited by the Union government by UPSC, and their services are allotted under various state cadres. Here you can see recruitment is done by central agency, whereas allotment is under state cadres. The Constitution provides for the creation of All India services common to the Union and states. Both common to Union and state governments, this particular service can be utilized. An act was passed, that is All India Services Act 1951, provides that the central government may make rules for regulating the recruitment, because recruitment is done by Union government by UPSC, and conditions of services of persons appointed to the All India services. So Union government can make rules. According to these provision only, now government is trying to change the rules in case of deputation. Recruitment to these services is made under the corresponding All India service recruitment rules and may be done through direct recruitment, that is through competitive examination, by promotion from the state service. In either of these two methods, All India service recruitment can take place. The officers of All India service are further distributed into state cadres. Here you can see different zones. These are recently amended one. The state cadres or joint cadres will be divided into following 5 zones, like Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, different parts, northern part, central part, western part and southern part. Likewise, 5 zones, entire country is divided into 5 zones, and each zone has certain number of states. There are 3 joint cadres as well, namely Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Arunachal Pradesh, Goa, Mizoram Union Territory, Agmar. These are joint cadres. They are not particular for single state. Different states will have same type of cadre. So in this way, the cadre system is allocated for All India services. In 1947, Indian Civil Service, this is what the legacy of British imperialism, was replaced by IAS, Indian Civil Service, through the efforts of or through the support of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. It was continued, it was not discontinued. Indian Civil Service was replaced by IAS, and the Indian Police was replaced by Indian Police Service, IPS, and were recognized by the Constitution as All India Services. IFOS added later. In 1966, the Indian Forest Service was established as the third All India service under All India Services Act 1951 to safeguard, preserve and restore the forest sources. Here you have to see the history of Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police Service and creation of Indian Forest Service. Now we see deputation. The All India Services Act authorizes the central government to make rules in consultation with state governments for the regulation of recruitment and service conditions of the members of All India Services. So here, with in consultation with the state governments, union government can make changes. The central government obtains the services of these officers on deputation under the well-known tenure system. All India Service serve the central government on deputation, and after completing their fixed tenure, say 2 years, 3 years, again they go back to their respective states. When they are recruited, they are allocated a particular cadre, particular zone, particular state cadre. Whenever union government requires the service of these people, they take it from in the form of deputation. After serving the fixed tenure, they once again go back to the states. It must be noted here that irrespective of their division among different states, each of these All India services form a single service with common rights, status and uniform scales of pay throughout the country. Names are different: All India Service, Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police, Indian Forest. But when it comes to the terms, all are having same status. Their salaries and pensions are met by the states. Here you have to remember, salaries and pensions are met by states, whereas recruited by union government, by UPSC. Now, how they control? All India service are controlled jointly by central and state governments. The ultimate control lies obviously with the central government, while the immediate control is vested in the state governments. Any disciplinary action against these officers can only be taken by the central government. It is the recruitment agency, and in order to work without any pressure from the local politics, All India services need certain roles, responsibilities and also safeguards. In that context, only central government can take the action against these officers. Any disciplinary action states cannot take. States can recommend the union government. Only union government can take the disciplinary action. Now, what is the legal basis to run this entire bureaucracy? Constitutional provisions are there and also legal provisions are there. When it comes to constitutional provision, Articles 3082 314, these are important. In Part 14 of the Constitution contains provisions with regard to All India services, central services and state services. The entire bureaucracy is now under Part 4 of the Constitution. Here Article 3082 314 deals with this section. Recruitment and service conditions. Article 309 empowers the Parliament and state legislatures to regulate the recruitment and conditions of service persons appointed to public service and posts under central and state respectively. State governments can pass laws, empower the Article 309 empowers the Parliament and state legislatures to regulate the recruitment and conditions of the services. At central level, Parliament will take care. At the state level, state legislature will make the laws. Until such laws are made, the president or governor can make rules to regulate these matters. Till the time Parliament and state legislature make such laws, president and governor can make rules according to the conditions of the state and center. Recruitment includes any method provided for inducting a person in public service like appointment, selection, deputation, promotion and appointment by transfer. Here there are different methods: direct appointment, selection through recruitment process, deputation, this is the one, and promotion based also this recruitment can take place. The conditions of service of a public servant includes pay, allowances, periodical increases, leave, promotion, tenure. So there are different type of conditions of service. All are applicable to this All India services. Now, there are certain kinds of restrictions also. When they are in public service, they have to follow certain restrictions so that they can work in the bureaucracy without any pressure or fear in the so that they work fairly in the bureaucracy system. Under this provision, the parliament or state legislature can impose reasonable restrictions on fundamental rights of public servants in the interest of integrity, honesty, efficiency, discipline, impartiality, secrecy, neutrality, anonymity. These are the civil service values. These civil service values had to be followed in bureaucracy. In order to function efficiently and to follow these values, certain reasonable restrictions are imposed by Parliament and state legislature in their respective services. Such restrictions are mentioned in the conduct rules like Central Services Conduct Rules, Railway Services Conduct Rules, and so on. Wherever they are posted, according to their condition, according to their position, their different conduct rules come into play so that they work honestly and impartially. When it comes to tenure of office, according to Article 310, members of defense services, the civil services of center and all India service or persons holding military posts or civil posts under center hold office during the pleasure of the president. Here this is important. These service holders hold offices during the pleasure of president. Similarly, members of civil services of state at a central level, president, and at state level, it is governor. Governor and state governor, and at union level, president, they are the authorities to give the appointment to these officers, so that they hold their office during the pleasure of president at union level. They hold office at the pleasure of governor at state level. Safeguards, certain safeguards are also given so that they can work impartially. Article 311 places two restrictions on the above doctrine of pleasure. They can be removed or they hold the office during the pleasure of president. It doesn't mean they can be removed at any point of time. If there is any disciplinary action is required or if there is any punishment is required, again Constitution itself has given certain rules. Union government should follow these rules in taking disciplinary action. In other words, it provides two safeguards to civil servants against any arbitrary dismissal from their posts. So arbitrary dismissal is not possible in case of all India services. Indian Constitution itself has given certain safeguards. So while there are some kind of restrictions, reasonable restrictions, so that they follow the civil service values, similarly they have certain safeguards also so that unnecessary arbitrary dismissal is not possible. So what are these safeguards? A civil servant cannot be dismissed or removed by an authority subordinate to that by which he was appointed. So in this case, who appoints all India services holders? President. So only president can remove them, not below the authority of president. A civil servant cannot be dismissed or removed or reduced in rank except after an inquiry. An inquiry is required in which he has been informed of the charges against him and given reasonable opportunity of being heard in respect of those charges. So one is they can be removed only by the appointment authority. Second one, proper inquiry has to be there before taking any action. So these safeguards are there within the Constitution itself. So constitutionally these services are protected. The above two safeguards are available only to the members of civil services of center, the all India services, civil services of state, or to persons holding civil posts under the center or state, and not to members of defense services or person holding military posts. Except defense and military posts, all these safeguards are for the remaining officers. Defense service and military posts are under different set of rules. Now, all India services. Article 312, it's very important, makes the following provisions in respect of all India services. Suppose if there is any requirement of new all India services in the country. In that context, Parliament can pass a law. Here, Parliament can create new all India services, including an all India judicial service. So it can create a new all India service If Rajya Sabha passes a resolution declaring that it is necessary or expedient in the national interest to do so. If Rajya Sabha passes a resolution and if it considers that there is requirement of All India services at the moment, means Parliament can create new All India services. Such a resolution in Rajya Sabha should be supported by 2/3 of members present and voting. This is the minimum requirement. This power of recommendation is given to Rajya Sabha to protect the interests of state in the Indian federal system. Here, this All India services like recruited by central agency and they work in the states, so it is a part of federal feature. State governments say should be there in creating All India services. Here states are represented by Rajya Sabha, so Rajya Sabha resolution is very essential to create All India services. Parliament can regulate the recruitment and conditions of service of persons appointed to All India services. So Parliament has the power, while Rajya Sabha resolution is required to create new All India services. Accordingly, the Parliament has enacted All India Services Act 1951 for the purpose. The services known at the commencement of Constitution, that is in 1950 January 26, as the Indian Administrative Service and Indian Police Service are deemed to be services created by Parliament under this provision. Because these two services were already there before independence, Indian Civil Service turned into Indian Administrative Service, Indian Police became Indian Police Service. So these two were considered as All India services created by Parliament under this provision. The All India Judicial Service should not include any post inferior to that of district judge. So certain guidelines are also given by the Constitution itself to the Parliament. A law providing for the creation of this service is not to be deemed as an amendment to the Constitution for the purposes of Article 368. So it can be created without deeming that provision as a Constitution amendment under this article. Though 42nd Amendment Act, this act created, however, the service, no such law has been made so far. So even though there is provision for All India Judicial Service in Constitution now, but law is not passed, so it is still not in place. Other provisions, Article 312A, inserted by 28th Amendment Act, confers powers on Parliament to vary or revoke the conditions of service of persons who were appointed to a civil service of the Crown in India before 1950. So if there is any legacy of British imperialism, if Indian government wants to remove that, they can be eliminated. Article 313 deals with the transitional provisions and say that until otherwise provided, all the laws in force before 1950 and applicable to any public service would continue. So these two provisions are related to what should be done to the system what was there till 1950. Article 314, which made provision for protection of existing officers of certain services, was repealed by 28th Amendment Act 1972. So these are all in order to set right the legacy of British imperialism. These provisions are there. So in this context, we have seen in detail about All India services, how the All India services evolved, what are various constitutional provisions, and what are various other dimensions involved in the All India services. Thank you.